Good morning, and thank you for joining us for this final West Tennessee Hospitality and Tourism Task Force webinar for 2024. Today's topic is travel, and we're going to hear from a great lineup of speakers about how this industry is growing and contributing to our local economy. So a few reminders before we get started. Add any questions that you may have to the Q&A box as you think about them through the webinar. We'll have time at the end to answer all your questions. If we run short on time and we do not get to your question that you've entered in the chat, we'll address those in the email that comes out with the video recording from today's webinar. It is being recorded, and at the conclusion of the webinar, this PowerPoint will be shared with all attendees along with the link to the recording. The West Tennessee Hospitality and Tourism Task Force is led by industry champions. You'll see here we have Mr. Scott Williams, Mike Miller, and Brooks Shaw. They represent each of the three West Tennessee local workforce development areas, and they serve on the Task Force Executive Committee and play a key role in developing our sector strategies. And now I'm going to turn it over to Chelsa Lourie. She is the Director of Workforce Development for the Tennessee Hospitality and Tourism Association, and she will moderate the rest of today's event.
Morning, everybody. Happy to see you all and welcome. Thanks for being here with us on this Monday. We have, like we've already said, we have a lot of great panelists today that we're excited to hear from, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about each of them. So we've got Kasey Muench, who is with Northwest Tennessee Tourism, Kevin Kane, who is the president and CEO of Memphis Tourism, Steve Smith with the Jackson-Madison County Airport Authority, and Glen Thomas with the Memphis-Shelby County Airport Authority. So Kasey is the executive director of the Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association. She is she graduated from the University of Memphis with a degree in fine arts, concentrating in graphic design. She lives in Paris, Tennessee, not Paris, France, and would love to tell you all about her adventures with Elf on a Shelf if there's time at the end. But I've gotten to know Kasey pretty well over the last year, so I'm excited to introduce her and have her share more about what she does in Northeast Tennessee with you all today.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well on this Monday morning. We were just talking about counting down. Me and my kids are counting down till Friday. Then they have 2 weeks off. So we're just in the mood, in the spirit. So hope you're having a great Monday. I am Kasey Muench. I am the director of Northwest Tennessee Tourism Association. I've been in this role since January 2022. And Northwest Tennessee Tourism is an organization that's been around since the 1970s, and it serves the north 9 counties in West Tennessee. So as you can see, this map is our 9 counties that we serve, and we are all rural areas. We are all small towns. No big cities here. Jackson is just south of us. Clarksville and Nashville are east of us, and Memphis is southwest of us. But we're all rural areas, but that really doesn't limit anyone's experience here. We have plenty to do. We have 2 safari parks. We have an Eiffel Tower where I live in Paris. Several wineries. We have over 20 festivals that happen year-round. Lots of outdoor activities to do with Kentucky and Reelfoot Lakes. We also have lots of cool and unique places to stay. Plenty of historic downtowns and main streets to visit and explore and shop. And of course, lots of opportunities to fill your belly with delicious food, no matter what mood you're in. And we have a 100,000 square foot museum and 50-acre heritage park, also known as Discovery Park of America. If you haven't visited that, you are missing out. Definitely give that a try. So we have something for everyone, even though we are just small towns in a rural area. Northwest Tennessee Tourism Association. Our mission is to serve as a catalyst to enhance regional community and economic growth through the promotion and development of the tourism industry. To break that down just a little bit for you, we enhance regional community. So we are working to connect the people who so diligently work within the hospitality and tourism industries with one another. One of my biggest goals as director is really to connect the people that work in our industries to one another. I really feel that the more those people know about our region, the longer we can keep a visitor with us because we can keep recommending things to do in our region. And also those people need to know one another so they can feed off one another, ask questions, and just be a supportive community of one another. So that's one of our big goals. Promotion, I consider ourselves an extended marketing arm for this industry in our region. We promote the region as a whole, but we really strive to find ways to show how special our region is because of the small businesses within it. We've created a great website. Would love for you to check it out. It's always evolving. We're always adding to it. We're printing our first visitor's guide. It's literally at the printer right now. I'm so proud of this thing. It will be debuting in January. And then we also have other opportunities and advertising initiatives. We have opportunities for businesses to co-op with us. We advertise in the state's Tennessee Vacation Guide. We're doing a video project next year. Also some other articles and advertising avenues that we're taking, and I'm really excited. So we're an extended marketing arm for those businesses to market themselves. We try to get everybody's attention, a potential visitor's attention, and then hone them in our website and really dig into those small businesses that make us so special. And then development goes hand in hand with connectivity. We make intentional efforts to educate people in our region just how important tourism is and how it affects residents and businesses within Northwest Tennessee. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the state's snapshots from the tourism department. This is actually the snapshot from 2023 of Northwest Tennessee. So it includes all 9 counties. So in 2023, visitor spending hit above $300 million. So that's incredible. That's a lot of money, and it's real money. And you can see how that's divided out in state taxes and local taxes. And how that feeds back into our communities to be spent on what that community needs to function. I wanted to hone in on the $175,000 in labor income that is generated by visitor spending on almost 2,500 hospitality and tourism jobs. That's a lot of jobs that we have just within our region. When the workforce comes up in conversation with business owners, there are struggles across the board for many different reasons. Tourism and hospitality careers are often undervalued, yet they are vital to creating memorable experiences for travelers. Changing the perception of these roles from just jobs to meaningful service-driven careers can help attract and retain a dedicated workforce. Tourism and hospitality are industries built on service and human connection. Every worker, from the concierge at the hotel to the server at the restaurant, has a unique ability to make a visitor's experience exceptional. So by framing these roles as opportunities to serve and positively impact others, I feel like individuals can make a greater purpose and have a deeper pride for their work. This is actually Michael on the left. He's at Southland Safari. He's the tour guide there. He makes everybody's tour worthwhile. So he is definitely one of those workers that we couldn't do without, that visitors come back time and time again because of what he provides them. There is a Discovery Park employee down there in the blue shirt with the kids. And I mean, we just depend on all these different workers in our industry to make our visitors' experiences good. So I think raising that bar and that perspective is needed. I know there are some difficulties with recruiting and retention with all workforce, but in our industries, I believe that we have the opportunity to elevate tourism and hospitality careers by shifting perspective. I was on a call the other day, and Scott Williams, the CEO of Discovery Park, was on it. And I get all sorts of emails from Discovery Park, but I commended him because he includes visitor responses and compliments to his employees in those emails. So from top to bottom, no matter what your job was or is, his employees were being recognized by visitors for doing a great job. And he's really great at sharing those with them so they have pride in their work and they're realizing that what they're doing is meaningful. He does a great job of highlighting the purposeful impact of their hospitality jobs. I think we can also create a culture of growth and opportunity. While entry-level hospitality jobs may not always offer high wages initially, there's definitely potential for advancement. And it's significant. There's plenty of success stories of individuals who have climbed the ladder from servers to managers, from front desk associates to general managers. So there are long-term opportunities that dedication and hard work can bring. And then encouraging a service-driven mindset, promoting the idea that tourism and hospitality jobs are the ultimate way to serve others can be a game changer. People are often motivated, I know I am personally, by the opportunity to make a difference. And these industries offer countless opportunities to do just that. So workers know that they're not just fulfilling tasks, they're creating moments of joy, comfort, and connection for travelers of all walks of life. Those are just a few things I wanted to comment on, that a few ideas of how I felt like if we reframe these jobs as meaningful service-oriented careers, that we can really help to inspire a new generation of workers. Not only inspire them, but keep them committed. I can't tell you the number of people that have visited Northwest Tennessee or West Tennessee in general and are repeat visitors because of the people that they meet. We're very hospitable, and these people that I mentioned earlier, no matter the level of their job, they impact that visitor and add to their experience. So they are absolutely important to the tourism and hospitality industry. This is my contact information. Would love for you to get your phone out and scan that QR code. That'll take you to some links that we have available. Our website, you can sign up for our newsletter and our text messaging. Check us out on social media. And my number and my email address is there. I would love for any feedback you have. Very happy to be in this role and very excited to work for Northwest Tennessee. And so that's all I have today. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas.
Next, I'm excited to introduce you all to Kevin Kane, who, from what I understand, is someone you probably know in Memphis. He is the president and CEO of Memphis Tourism and a native Memphian, and graduate of Christian Brothers High School and the University of Memphis. He serves on a lot of boards, both locally and nationally and even internationally. So excited to hear what he has to share with us today and learn more about his role.
Thank you, Chelsa. It's a privilege to be here this morning with all of our industry supporters across West Tennessee. You know, I think Shelby County is proud to be probably the largest tourism entity in the state for West Tennessee. I think we're the second in the state behind Davidson County at over $4.3 billion of revenue that is spent with our visitors and through the travel industry. We have over 45,000 jobs that are supported by tourism and hospitality in Memphis and Shelby County. So, you know, I think like all of us in West Tennessee and everybody on this call, it's really what we do as an economic tool for our communities, whether it's an airport, whether it's an attraction, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a hotel. You know, we all play that part that attracts people or brings people to our community, that they will spend dollars, usually that was generated outside of the state of Tennessee, and spend it in our community. So I think we all kind of felt what happens when that slows down to a crawl like it did during COVID. And we kind of, I think across the state, realized what an important economic tool the travel industry and the tourism industry was for the great state of Tennessee, which I think this past year hit over $30 billion in travel industry expenditure. So, you know, kind of where we are from a labor standpoint, we've recovered just remarkably. You know, during COVID, a lot of people left our industry because our industry was so handicapped. I think the jobs that were lost in the travel sector across the state was number one. And as far as the sector that got hit by jobs, and many of our people did not return. A lot of people went to other industries that possibly offered benefits that some members of the hospitality industry does not support, or they're able to, you know, to give to people. And but I think over the last few years, we've done a spectacular job as an industry across the state and here in Shelby County of attracting people back to our industry. Sometimes the grass doesn't look greener on the other side of the fence. A lot of people that left hospitality for an industry that possibly offered maybe a higher wage or even better benefits. We found after about a year and a half, a lot of those people started returning back to our industry. I think what has happened in travel and tourism since COVID, I think that those low-paying dead-end jobs that some people perceive of so many of the jobs within travel and hospitality are really not that way anymore. In fact, I think that our industry certainly has raised the pay scales up, certainly have offered better benefits, which is good on one hand. On the other hand, it probably helped fuel the inflation that we've experienced. It's, you know, it's one of those things that help drive up inflation, which, you know, are we really farther ahead one way or the other? So let me just say that what happens across Shelby County impacts the entire state. You know, we're right on the corner, so we kind of have a regional approach that really spreads into Arkansas and into Mississippi, and of course throughout all of West Tennessee. So, you know, we're kind of looking at this from a little bit different perspective because we see what's going on in Mississippi. We see what's also going on in Arkansas, because sometimes their downturns or their strengths either can hurt us or benefit us. So we're kind of we kind of take everything from almost a 3-state approach when we are working within tourism and hospitality. So the good news is that 2023 was a great year. We basically recovered beyond 2019, which was a record year for our industry, like it was so many other industries. You know, business in 2024 has been a little bit flat. It's been kind of a struggle, as I think a lot of people weren't traveling quite as much because either A, they had spent all the incentive dollars that they received from federal government, or they no longer could travel and work at the same time, which I think our industry really took advantage of, because a lot of people were kind of working wherever they were because they could work remotely, as more and more employees have been called back to the office place and have not been able to, many of them, work remotely as much. So I think that's also had a little bit of an impact on us. But 2025 looks great. We have over 250 hotels in Memphis and Shelby County. We have a very strong airport that just like our entire industry serves a 3-state area. And, we continue to see some great enhancements there. And there's a lot of construction still is taking place in Memphis and Shelby County. A $300 million museum, which will open the latter part of next year, and hotels that are still under construction. And so it's onward and forward for tourism and hospitality in Shelby County. So thank you, Chelsa.
Yeah, thanks so much. I think that you make so many great points about just the resiliency of our industry post-pandemic. I feel like I personally know so many folks that left the industry during that time. So I feel like if you're still here and you're still around, like you're really in it for the right reasons at this point. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate all your insight. All right, and next I'm excited to introduce you all to Steve Smith with the Jackson-Madison County Airport Authority. So I was reading about Steve, and I thought something that stood out to me was that he was recognized as Tennessee's Airport Manager of the Year in 2014, which is really cool. Being here in Nashville, I feel like everyone knows all about B&A and what a great airport that is, but we're really lucky in Tennessee to have so many great regional airports that do a lot of really awesome things that directly impact our industry. So Steve, I'll let you take it away.
All right, thank you, Chelsea. We have, looking at where we're going now, it's amazing the industrial development that started taking place in West Tennessee, and that's one of the things that has driven where we have been for the last couple of years. And what we want to do is we have partnered with the Greater Jackson Chamber of Commerce. We're working on a lot of different things, and we've gone out and actually taken a regional look at where we are and what we're doing. One of the things that we've looked at is I think maybe, are we on the screen yet, Brandon? Yeah, okay. We have gone out and have about 22 communities in West Tennessee that have signed on to what the Greater Jackson Chamber and the Jackson Regional Airport, which is the new name of this airport beginning 1 January, from McKellar-Sipes Regional Airport to Jackson Regional Airport. So we're looking at things that are going to grow West Tennessee, and one of the things from an airport standpoint that our plans are, we're going to go out and look. We have new service coming. It's already here, actually. So we're looking at where are we, Brandon? I can't. Okay. Anyway, I'll go on. We're looking at reaching out into West Tennessee and finding the areas out there that we need to cultivate and actually bring those areas into our airport and to reach out for people that are in our area, like the folks in Atlanta and around Atlanta and Chicago and around Chicago that actually want to come into West Tennessee and find out all the different things that we've got going on. We are on track. Jackson Regional Airport is on track to be the 6th primary airport in the state. We've been a non-primary entitlement airport for many years. With the addition of jet service, we're going to become, and we are now, a Class 1 commercial airport, and we're going to become the number 6 primary airport in the state this year. One of the things that we've been doing is getting ready for a lot of things that are going on. A lot of people talk about the New Madrid Fault, and there's been some activity on the New Madrid Fault this week. The Jackson Regional Airport rather is command and control for everything that goes on based on the New Madrid fault. So we have our disaster plan in place, and that's part of the National Guard that's located here as well. Now, we also have become part of a regional hub here. We have, of course, our own aircraft firefighting and rescue facility here. Madison County Dispatch and Fire is located here at the airport, along with Madison County Emergency Management. The state built a new TBI crime lab, about $100 million facility, about 2 years ago here, and we also moved the Highway Patrol's District 8 headquarters onto our campus area. Madison County Sheriff's Department built a $2 million facility just adjacent to the backside of the airport. So a lot of things going on, a lot of things going here at our airport. We've been working really hard with Ford Motor Company. The direct jet traffic to Atlanta, Chicago, and eventually a flight to Detroit is in the works. We figured out with Ford that we can save them 55 minutes minimum per person that they fly in. If they fly in 200 a week, then that's a lot of time, and time is money for that. The airport here has put in about $52 million a year in total revenue for West Tennessee, and that helps us grow, and that helps us be part of West Tennessee. Future of this airport, jet service is already here. We're looking to build a new terminal, which will be about a $30 million addition, and that's part of the state plan for the coming year. The service that has come is part of Key Lime Air Denver Air Connection. They fly a 50-passenger regional jet. They're based in Englewood, Colorado, and we're looking to see now how much that's going to increase our traffic. The great thing about what we have, and if you look at the map that's there now, all of those areas that Denver Air and Key Lime Air are flying to now have now become connected to Jackson and to West Tennessee. West Tennessee's Cultural Center is here. Kasey Jones Village is here. The Kasey Jones Home and Museum. There are so many great golf courses in West Tennessee. There's great fishing, hunting. If you're a hunter, everybody knows about the whitetail and the hunting areas that are in West Tennessee, and the hunting is actually second to none. The state parks are fantastic here. We want to reach out to the folks in the Atlanta area and the Chicago area on how they can come in and actually have an affordable weekend trip to fly into Jackson and then be moved to one of the state parks that's in West Tennessee. Those are great things that happen here. And this airplane that you see on the screen is what's going to make that happen for Jackson and West Tennessee. 50 seats. There are no middle seats, lavatory on board, a flight attendant on board, and of course a beverage and snack service as well. These are things that Jackson has not offered West Tennessee in almost 30 years. And so we're excited that they're back, and we're working really hard with Denver as they are going to be working hard with us. So that's kind of where we are on that. I think that looking at what we're planning to do this summer, we're going to reach out. I mean, how many people have gone to a Chicago White Sox game? So we're going to do some special things with White Sox and the Cubs and the Atlanta Braves as well, because there's a great following for all of these baseball teams here. The Great Wolf Lodge made its announcement not long ago. And so we will be reaching out through the Greater Chamber to bring in folks that want to come to the Great Wolf Lodge and enjoy what else West Tennessee has. Jackson has the symphony, and there is a great number of folks that would come to hear a symphony the size of Jackson. Part of what we're going to do is make sure folks know how well and how good that symphony is. So a lot going on. The airport and the county has spent about $32 million this summer getting this airport ready for the tourism that's coming, for the industrial development that's coming, and for just actually commercial travel that's coming to West Tennessee. We're excited to be part of it. And let me say that I want to thank Brandon David. Brandon, thank you. Brandon at flyjackson.com is going to be your contact. So if you need to reach out to find out about the flights, find out about what's going on in Jackson, and find out how the airport can help you in what you do to make West Tennessee great, Fly Jackson, Brandon at flyjackson.com. That's the connection. Thank you all for having me this morning. I always like to take time and talk about the airport. Thank you.
That's awesome. I mean, the more people that can come to every corner of our state, the better for our industry, right? But thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, I'm happy to introduce Glen Thomas with Memphis-Shelby County Airport Authority. So something I thought that was interesting about Glen was that he kind of switched industries completely coming into the airport authority there after previously being with Memphis Light Gas and Water. But he's got a really great background, and something really exciting to me is he has a dog named Snoop, which is wonderful. You might remember him from his Olympic coverage this year. But Glenn, go ahead and take it away.
Morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. We've had already a lot of great speakers, and hope I can add to that a little bit by walking everybody through what's going on at Memphis International Airport, give you some facts and figures. Going to share my screen now. Great. So main thing, 4.9 million total passengers last year. This was a record for us. We are on track, probably a little more flat this year, but on track to probably exceed that by a little bit this year. Seeing a lot of growth in the industry, of course, with our cargo volume that is due to FedEx, which is a huge contributor to our local economy here in Memphis. We have about 3,000 employees that work at the airport. Only about 300 of those are airport authority. So one of the things I like to do is go through who does what at the airport. So we at the airport authority, we manage the facilities, the runways, we manage the buildings. We keep the runways clear of ice and snow when that happens. What we don't do, though, is sell tickets. We don't handle your bags. We don't perform de-icing, even though we did build a de-icing facility that allows the airlines to perform their de-icing at a centralized location. It is something that not only has an environmental aspect to it, but it's also much more efficient for the airlines, especially our commercial airlines, because they're able to de-ice right before takeoff. Previously, you may have been at the gate when de-icing was being performed, but then possibly if the airline is in line and accumulates more ice and precipitation, it may need a second de-icing before takeoff. And our de-icing facility helps with that, and that they're doing it right before their takeoff. We have contractors that manage retail and restaurants respectively. If you've been in our airport recently, you do know we have a lot of a local presence along with a few well-known chains, but we have tried to lean in heavily to that local type of feel at the airport. So I won't go through every one of these bullet points. I think a lot of them speak for themselves, and I imagine this group is probably pretty travel savvy. 2023 numbers, obviously early next year, we'll get updated numbers for the current year, but we ranked 65th in terms of the largest airports in the nation in terms of total passengers. You can see some of our peer airports, Albuquerque, Omaha, Richmond, Louisville, Buffalo, New York, Norfolk. That's where we're sitting right now. Had about a 10% increase between 2022 and 23. Cargo activity, as you might expect, it is huge. We are the busiest cargo airport in North America, second busiest in the world. We are the busiest airport in the world at night as FedEx begins to ramp up its activity late in the afternoon and then all night long, those planes are coming and going all over the world. So if we look at last year's cargo numbers, we're up there. Hong Kong has been number one, save a couple of years around the pandemic. We reclaimed the number one spot as Hong Kong was really hit hard by the effects of the pandemic. Shanghai, China, and Anchorage, which is always has a little asterisk there. They are actually a big fuel stop as aircraft makes their way to over to Asia. So a lot of stuff is not loaded, unloaded there, but it is a big fuel stop. But we still rank tops in North America thanks to FedEx. Ironically, UPS actually has a pretty sizable presence here as well. FedEx, of course, kind of dominates the headlines because of their volume. Air service is usually what I get asked the most about. So I did want to take a few minutes to talk about that, what we're doing to pursue air service. One of the things that we have seen is steady increase with our checkpoint numbers. That is why we always put out the news release that says get here 2 hours early, especially if you arrive early in the morning. That is for airports our size, like Memphis International. The busiest time is early in the morning between 5 and 8 a.m., as most of the large airlines like to push a lot of our passengers through some of their hubs if you're connecting. But it is the busiest time. We always advise get here 2 hours early. The worst that can happen is you get a little bit early to your gate. You got time for a cup of coffee or some Corky's barbecue, which is available at a couple of our restaurants here. If we're looking at airfare, and if we walk back to the history of Memphis International Airport in 2013, I believe it was, Delta removed its hub operations here. So for many years, we served as a hub for both Northwest and then with the merger for Delta Airlines. And essentially, Delta made a business decision reducing its hubs, which this is something that really happened across the industry. You saw lots of hub reduction from the airlines as they focused on few key cities to connect people through rather than having many hub cities across the nation. But essentially what we had was a monopoly, for lack of a better term. And because of that, we had some of the highest fares in the nation because really there wasn't a lot of competition for Delta. So one of the positives that came out of Delta dehubbing was that our average airfare went down because we had several airlines come in and see opportunity where they didn't have that before. So you had Southwest, Allegiant, Frontier, Spirit most recently coming in, helping to drive down the airfare with a little bit of competition. Of course, the downside is that connectivity. You don't have the same connectivity that you used to have. And what people probably don't realize about our hub days was that about 75 to 80% of our passengers were not coming and going to Memphis. They were connecting through Memphis. So a lot of that connectivity was fueled by people from other cities. It wasn't local traffic. So we've worked to rebuild the air service as much as possible. It is a continuous effort that we make. We have a lot of meetings with airlines on a regular basis. We go to conferences, which are essentially speed dating types of conferences where you meet with airlines and discuss the potential of new routes or how existing routes are doing. This graph that you see up here is one that shows how airfare has declined at Memphis International Airport. Again, this is not something that the airport controls. The airlines set fares and they're going to do everything based on profitability. So whether they offer a route period and how they price that route is all of it is geared towards profitability, as you might expect. One of the things that we have seen industry-wide is the transition to larger aircraft. Aircraft is getting larger. Just like I mentioned, airlines were reducing their number of hubs. They're also getting rid of those small regional aircraft to a large degree. They are moving to larger aircraft, and now you can see in that 15-year time, average seats have doubled per average seats per departure. So larger aircraft averaging almost 130 seats now. So this graphic is probably a little bit hard to see, but it is a great one, and hopefully we can make these presentations available after. But how airplanes make money, and one of the things I like to point out is that airport fees, which is on the right side and a small pink line there, airports represent very little of what the airlines, their cost of operations, mostly labor costs and of course, lots of fuel costs and things like that that make up the airlines' overall fees. But I mentioned profitability, and that's something they really work with pretty small margins. And so we try to keep our costs to the airlines as low as possible so that it's still appealing for them to have service here. If we're looking at our number of destinations, nonstop destinations, we are right in line with our peers. I know some of these three-letter designations may not be familiar to you, but SDF is Louisville, Jacksonville, MKE is Milwaukee, I see Richmond, but you can see we're right in line. But as our CEO likes to say, our goal is always one more. So we are continuing to try to add to that number of destinations. Looking at our unserved areas, these are our target areas. You can see the Bay Area. The West Coast is definitely something that is a continual goal for us. And you can see there's several West Coast destinations here at the top of this list. The important thing, though, is that PDEW, or PDU, as we call it, is passengers daily each way. That is a very important figure because that gives us an idea of how many people are traveling to these destinations. The challenge with these West Coast destinations is that it requires a large aircraft because of the fuel requirements. So 91 passengers, quite honestly, is not going to fill one of those aircraft. So a couple of things with this. One, the airlines know how many people are connecting through their network, right? Because they sell the tickets. So they know better than anyone how many people are traveling through their network and where they're going and how they're doing it. What we try to do with some of our meetings and our air service recruitment is give them information that they don't have. So we may bring Kevin Kane from Memphis Tourism or Ted Townsend from the Chamber, or both, to some of these conferences where they can state their case based on what is our where are our businesses traveling, what are tourism numbers. One of the most valuable things that we're able to obtain through our partnership with Memphis Tourism is credit card spending. Where are people from that are spending money here with credit card data? That may be something that the airline doesn't know and may reveal something about a market that can cause them to maybe change their strategy for what kind of air service that they're providing out of MEM. So this gives you an idea of what we're targeting and what we're hoping to accomplish over the next year or two. Certainly, it is a marathon and not a sprint. And sometimes some of these air service efforts are years in the making. So it's definitely a goal. Obviously, we would love to have some additional international service in addition to Cancun, but that's in the works as well. It takes time, and the airlines, quite honestly, they move pretty slowly with a lot of these types of air service additions. So we are working on it. I do want to touch on the largest construction project that we have ever embarked on. We have begun that already. We are going to be modernizing our ticketing and baggage areas. A couple of years ago, we opened our new concourse, and that has been tremendously well received. The rest of the building, though, is still 60 plus years old. It needs work. As you can see from this photo, this building was not designed for the travel of 2024 or 2025. It was 60 plus years ago when it was built. So with more people coming and going, I think I touched on the hub traffic was about 70 to 80% connecting passengers. Now 99% of our travelers are either coming or going. So we are what is called an origin and destination, or O&D airport. So with all those departing passengers in the morning, you can see lines like this. So we need to make this building larger. We need to make the terminal larger, and of course, we need to do some seismic mitigation. I know Steve mentioned the, the New Madrid fault in the 60s. Things weren't built with seismic enhancements in mind. So that's something that we've got to add. And of course, aesthetically make it more pleasing. So the first step that we're doing is creating a new lane down on the baggage claim level, where early next year we will move Uber and Lyft, and then we will close our outer drive, and we will work for the next couple of years to replace that drive in front of the airport from 2 lanes, merging it into one single 4-lane road, and that will allow us to bring the building out, to make the building larger. So it will actually come into what is the existing lane. So that's going to occupy us for a couple of years. We're not going to get into the building for a couple of years. And so you won't see a whole lot of things that impact passenger traffic until we close that outer drive. So I'll have a lot of communication to do, but just to give you an idea of what we're planning to do, we will make the building larger. We will move the escalators and elevators to the front of the building. We will make the security area larger and expand it quite a bit. And then just a lot more efficiencies in that ticketing and baggage areas. So a couple of slides here just to show you what it could look like. You can see over there at the top and on the right, what that new drive is going to look like. There will be no curb. It will just be flat going into the building. So that should help with some of our ADA requirements. And this gives you a look at what it might look like: more natural light, more space. Obviously, the end product is going to be a little bit different, but I just wanted to share a little bit of that, hopefully create some excitement. And happy to answer questions as we move forward.
Thanks so much, Glenn, for sharing and just telling us all the exciting things that you guys have coming up. So the first question that we got was, what percentage of the workforce are in the tourism and hospitality in West Tennessee? So I did a little investigative research to find out that there was a report that was published that was done through the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development last year that showed that accommodations and food service made up 26% of the workforce in West Tennessee. So that included kind of the 3 main regions of Greater Memphis, Southwest, and Northwest Tennessee. And that is available publicly, but I'm sure it can be sent out if anyone wanted to reference that specifically. And then how can K through 12 schools be more involved and assist in developing future talent pipelines for hospitality and tourism careers? That is a lot of what I do directly, so I had to retype that several times because I kept running out of character space. But 2 things that we as an association are involved with are ProStart, which is an initiative through the National Restaurant Association's Education Foundation. And that is like industry-specific training that high school students are able to utilize. And we have 38 of those ProStart schools across the state of Tennessee, with 7 of them currently being in West Tennessee. So they have the opportunity to go and compete against other schools at our statewide ProStart competition, which will be happening in February. And then the winning schools actually go to compete at the national level and represent the state of Tennessee, which is really cool. And then those students also earn scholarships to different culinary and hospitality programs as well. And then something that I'm really proud of is that we made sure that hospitality and tourism as an industry was featured in the Tennessee Career Guide for the first time this year. So that's a publication that goes out to all public schools across the state. And it's a tool that's kind of used with counselors and students and parents as they're kind of preparing for next steps post-graduation. And so that guide showcased kind of outlook for the industry, different career pathways available in the industry. I think that that was something Kasey said was, hey, students, parents, just people entering the industry don't always know kind of what the job outlook can be. And then Kasey shared that Lake County schools have also added hospitality and tourism to their curriculum as well. So I think there's a lot of good work that's been done, and still a lot that we can do as an industry to just continue to support those that are considering our industry, and just education and awareness. All right, and I just got another one as we came through. Any lessons learned from LGA's transformation for MEM? That feels like an airport question. So I don't know
Yeah,
if I can
so
answer that.
a couple things there. One, I was traveling, and I think in like 2018 when they were still in the middle of working on LGA. So I'm really looking forward to getting back. I'm going this summer, and I'll get to see the final product. Tremendous airport there, and tremendous project that they did. A couple things. One, yes, there's a great deal of collaboration between airports, whether it's development in my line of work. I can tell you I have multiple tech streams going at any given time in terms of how we handle certain situations. It's such a unique industry. Two, though, with airports, any construction project or modernization type of project is going to be geared very much to the specific needs of that particular airport. So these projects may have some similarities, but they're very unique. Obviously, LGA has much different needs, and obviously much greater volume, being one of the largest airports in the world. There are certainly elements that we can pick up from them and learn, but our project is going to be very unique to Memphis, and what type of needs do we have here for our passengers. So a couple of things I did not mention. One, this is 700 million plus, this project, and it is going to take a while. We're looking at about a 2030 completion date. These types of projects have to be done kind of in installments, a domino effect. Part of that is functional in terms of can't do one thing until you complete can't get to step 3 until you've done step 2. But also from a cost standpoint, I had that slide about how the airline fees are divvied up, and we want to keep their cost of operations as low as possible. So we're trying to mitigate the effects of that rent. But long answer to a really short question.
Thank you again to all the guest speakers and all who joined us for this webinar. Their contacts are listed on this slide. In the event that you want to reach out directly with any questions or comments, feel free to use those email addresses. You can also reach out to businessservices.west@tn.gov for any questions or comments related to the task force or the webinar. There'll be more information coming about the 2025 Hospitality and Tourism webinars and initiatives of the West Tennessee Hospitality and Tourism Task Force. That will conclude today's webinar. We thank you for attending, and we wish you all happy holidays, and we look forward to connecting with you in the new year.